I think having a fulfilling personal life is the key to being a better performer. Now I have more of a fulfilling personal life and I'm happy. I feel so much better in my career, and I think it shines through as well.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today's episode is with the fantastic Anja Cilia, and it's about acting and self-tapes, crazy auditions for adverts, and learning from people. So if you're curious about the acting world, you will really enjoy this episode with Anja, full of stories, references, and laughter as usual.
They used to teach us to do this. It was like that.
That's really
how we
cool.
did it.
That's so nice.
And we had to like write songs and stuff. And yeah, I was not very good at that. I'm gonna be real.
Oh, you haven't written me a song?
No, I will write you a song. I just need to be in the right headspace. It's going to be a romantic song.
Okay, sweet.
Cool.
I'm looking forward.
Oh my gosh.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So, of course, I wrote you a letter.
You wrote me a letter?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
Yes, I know. Dear Anja, you are a British actor from Kent, and I don't watch many movies or series, but your IMDb told me you were famous for
Definitely not.
Call the Midwife, The Third Day Autumn, and Buffering. You also recently starred in the O2 Christmas advert in the UK and in Rohlik's Christmas advert across Europe. I had such a great time watching your showreels and listening to your voice-over demo reel, because you are definitely a star of my Wilton's life, especially when I witness you preparing self-tapes, playing interesting characters during our breaks.
Oh.
So welcome to the podcast, and Anja, are you an artist?
Well, first of all, that was a gorgeous welcome. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say yes, I am an artist. And I'm going to say that confidently because I'm really bad at sort of like, I'm very self-critical. So I feel like normally I would not hesitate, but I'd probably be like, I'm an artist, but I'm not very good at this. So I'm actually trying to be better at that. And I'm going to say, yeah, I am an artist.
That's so interesting. I didn't know you were like self-critical because...
Oh my gosh, yeah.
As you were saying, when we see each other, we play a lot of characters and there are a lot of masks, but...
Yeah, no, I'm incredibly self-critical and I get told that a lot. And I'm trying to be better because not only does it implicate like your work and stuff like that, but my personal life and things like that. If I keep being self-critical, then I think people are going to get really bored of me. So yeah, I'm trying to be better at that.
And how was your childhood? Because you were already performing?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't come from a performing family yet. My family are mechanics. So none of my family have been in this industry or any industry similar to this, but my mum made me go to ballet when I was younger. I remember the teacher actually telling me, when I was only like 6 years old, I remember her telling me that she thought I was terrible.
Okay.
But I just enjoyed like messing around and being there with my friends. And then I got asked to be in like a local amateur dramatics panto with me and some of my ballet friends to like do some dancing. And then yeah, when I was there, a lady in the audience one night was a drama teacher. And apparently like when we'd stop dancing, we'd like sit down and join in some of the scenes. And whereas some of the other dancers who were better than me, but they would like stare into the abyss or like wave at their mums and dads, I would like pretend I was in the scene and react to what was going on in the scene.
Wow.
So this lady in the audience was a drama teacher and she came up to my mum afterwards and said like, I think you should get your daughter acting lessons. So then I started going to drama classes and that is where I found... oh my gosh, like this is me. So yeah, so I spent a lot of my childhood on stage, but not because I was surrounded by it at home. I mean, I was encouraged once I found out that I loved it. But yeah, my home life was very different to that. Yeah, very different.
And when did you decide to really train then and study?
I don't know if there was a certain time, but I remember being young and I might have only been sort of like 9 or 10. And I remember sort of having that idea in my head, like, this is what I'm going to do. this is what I love. So like I was saying, my family are mechanics. So I used to help out at the weekends. I used to work there and like assist and stuff like that. So I'd be there in like my overalls, like covered in dirt. And then because it's a family business, people would say, oh, you know, like when you grow up, you're going to be here, you're going to be a mechanic. And I, at like 9 years old, I'd be very firm. I'd be like, no, I'm going to be on the stage. I'm going to be an actor and I'm not going to be stuck here with my family. And like, I was very certain. I was very sort of feisty as well. I was very like, this is what I'm going to do. Don't you dare tell me what you think I'm going to be. So I was very clear on that.
Do you know what you loved so much about acting?
Honestly, I just think a lot of acting is like play, isn't it? I had such a vivid imagination when I was a kid. Like if I would daydream so much, honestly, Lynn, I was terrible. I remember if I was in the back of like a friend's mum's car, in my head, I wouldn't be in that car. I'd be the driver of the car and I'd be driving my children to school, or I'd be like escaping from something. And, you know, I was never in my head in that situation I was actually in. I was never there. I was always somewhere else. So I think, just being able to play other people, I just always found it so fun.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I always loved it. Yeah. And there's something so live about being on stage. Like, I don't really do much theatre at the moment. I'd love to do some more, but you just can't beat that feeling, as you know. You know, I'm sure it's similar when you dance. There's aliveness and knowing that you have to do that thing in that moment. Like, you are there. There is so much pressure on you to perform, and you have to meet up to an audience expectation. And every night it's different. Like, I just think it's the best feeling. I just think nothing really compares to that. Like liveness, and I always loved it. Like, I always got such a buzz from it, and nothing compared for me. Like, nothing compared to that feeling. Yeah.
And how does it feel to act for the camera? Because it's such a different setting.
Oh my God, it is so different. I mean, I'd never acted on screen ever until I left drama school, and it is a completely different skill set. It's all a lot more small, because obviously when you're on stage, you're trying to reach like the back of a theatre, aren't you? You're trying to show everyone in that audience what you're feeling or what thoughts you're having. But on screen, it has to be so much smaller because the camera sometimes is literally like an inch from your face. You can't be like a pantomime dame. So yeah, everything has to be smaller, and it has to be like in the eyes and about intention and about breath. And yeah, everything is so much more... what's the word?
It's very subtle.
Yeah, it's got to be more subtle. And I think you might even be... I mean, you can argue both ways, but I think you're slightly more vulnerable as well, because like they're so close. Yeah. They are so close. And also what a lot of people don't know is, you know, you might be doing like a really emotional scene or like a really vulnerable scene or intimate scene, and the camera is like 2 inches from your face, and there is a room full of people staring at you and like thinking about, you know, what you're doing, and that is really terrifying as well.
Yes.
Or it can be, like, if you've never done it before, it's absolutely terrifying. So I love both. I love stage, I love screen. There are benefits, there are disadvantages to both, but yeah, screen is like what I've been doing a lot of in the past, maybe like 5 years, and I think I'm loving where I'm at with that, you know. So yeah, but I'd love to get back into theatre, but I think theatre is feeling more and more closed now.
Yes, I guess it's a very niche space.
It is, and I feel like the way the industry used to work, and I could be wrong, sorry, this is just my interpretation, is that you would do theatre to then sort of become recognised as such, and then you would get on screen, right? If you think about like there's actors like Jude, like he started on stage and then he got picked up and then he worked on screen.
But now you also have the other way.
But now I think you actually have to start on screen and build up a reputation before anyone in the theatre world takes you seriously. Like, I don't really get theatre auditions. I probably get a year, maybe 4, 5 theatre auditions, which is sometimes what I get in a week for screen.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a very different world. Theatre feels more closed, but then again, I think that's from COVID. They need big names to get bums on seats, you know, to make money, the money back they lost, and which is a shame because there are so many incredible actors that are just out of work because it's so closed, you know?
Yeah.
So it is a shame.
So how is your life?
How's my life?
Like, no, but you say like, you have like about maybe 5, 6 auditions for screen. But so first you do self-tapes, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of self-tapes. I mean, you normally go into the room on a recall now, so like a second round. But I think the only thing I sort of go in first round for now is an advert. Some adverts, commercials and things will call you in first round in person.
Okay.
I have such a love-hate relationship with self-tapes. I love them because you don't have to constantly, drop everything to go to an audition, and you can do it in your own time. And I guess you could do multiple takes, but I don't like doing multiple takes. I'm quite a people person, and I come across better in a room where I can be redirected and people can talk to me and see how I work. And I normally do better because I'm so self-critical. Doing self-tapes is not good for me because I watch things back and I'm like, God, that's awful. And it's like, I just thought I blinked too many times. It's not, but I'm getting better at sort of putting like an actor hat on and being like, Anja, this is work. You can't be like ripping into yourself.
But it's so difficult to have a distance because it's such a strange thing already to watch yourself. Like even with the dancing, when you film yourself, you watch and you're like, huh.
Oh, that's what I look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's strange. I'm so with you though. It's
weird.
It's unnatural, isn't it? Because the thing is, when you're on a job, like a screen job, for example, you don't actually see what you're doing.
Exactly.
And you don't see it until it comes out, which is also terrifying. Like, let's take the ad I did recently, the O2 ad, for example. It was a night shoot and we shot that for maybe like 9 hours. So we had so much footage.
Yeah.
And then I just had no idea what they got. Like, I knew we'd got all these different shots and angles and things like this and different versions of different takes. And then it comes out and you're like, I've got no idea what I'm going to be doing in this or if I'm even still going to be in this. And then I saw it and I was like, that is so cool that that's what they chose. And, I wonder what the other stuff looked like. And then you never see that stuff. So yeah, it's a real mystery. But with self-tapes, it's like you have to be the director and the editor and you have to be your own lighting team, your own gaffer and all these things and your own director of photography. Like, you have the job of a whole crew and an actor and a director. Like,
and you probably will not get the job.
And and you put so much time and love into it. But no, I think self-tapes are so hard. And, if I wasn't doing this as a job, I would never record myself and watch myself back. So, yeah, but it does become easier. Mm-hmm. It does. And you do feel more natural in front of the camera. But I much prefer being in person, getting to know the team. And I think if they can see how you react to direction as well, that's always really good.
Yeah.
Because that's a big part of the job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just listening to someone and
being able to take it and to apply what you've been told. And
having an idea of a character and then, someone like a director or a producer being like, I like that, but that's not what we want. So can you do this? And sort of dropping your idea and saying, yeah, let's try that. And you need to be adaptable. Mm-hmm. I think that's a big part of being an actor. I think I'm quite good at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's taken years. I've been doing this since I was a kid. Not professionally, but like I've been playing around with this since I was a kid. So it's taken a lot. And you still learn. I learn on every single job. I feel like I learn from every single self-tape, So
yeah, it's crazy. You've been like different people.
Yeah.
Like you've been different characters,
it's wild.
You've had different lives, and
that's the beauty of acting, though. Is there are things in my personal life that I will never do that I'm like, oh, that doesn't matter because I might do that as an actor one day. Like I might do that as someone else one day, and that's fine with me.
I saw that you played the devil character in The Ritual.
Oh my gosh!
What was that? A devil character?
I'm gonna be real with you. That project was not.
I saw the ratings.
I haven't watched it, Lynn. I'm going to be real with you. And I don't advise anyone to watch it. I won't watch it because basically I got this casting call through. I remember it's during lockdown. I hadn't worked much that year. And I'm going to try and be polite with this. The guy who directed it was like, it's an improv film, but I want to make it feature length. And obviously feature films you normally shoot for minimum of like 3 weeks. And he was like, I want to make a feature film, but I want to improv. And I was like, that sounds wild, but I need the work. I'll go to this shoot. And he literally gave us like nothing. And I mean nothing to do. We just had to I had to improvise. And I love improv, but it was just so.
You need to be directed in
but
the
there was
improv.
But there was literally, he was like, yeah, just go. And then I would just be like, okay, I don't. It was just It was crazy. I wish my name wasn't on that. Anyway, but I'm not ashamed because I've never watched it and I won't. It's probably terrible. But I think you have to do terrible things as well to learn from it. Like, I'll never say yes to something that ambitious again. Like, obviously you can't shoot a feature film in one day.
Yeah.
And when you say improv, like, improv is great, but you have to have some form of structure.
Yeah.
And that film had literally no structure. Like, we did not know how it was going to end or begin. Like, there was literally nothing. And also, this is so funny. I, at the time, had a brace because it was during COVID and I was really unhappy with my bottom teeth. So I was like, I'm going to get a brace on my bottom teeth for COVID and just like straighten out my teeth a bit. And so I had this brace on the bottom of my teeth. So I just remember for the whole shoot, I was trying to like talk like this, like make sure my bottom lip was covering my braces the whole time. So that is another reason why I will never watch that back, because God knows the kind of faces I'm pulling. But I was so confused the whole time because there was just no direction. There was no structure. I had no idea what was happening. I was just and he literally didn't put the camera down all day. It was, bizarre. I have done some terrible work and I think you have to do it to learn. I think also one thing that I guess artists in general might struggle with is where there is such a lack of work in our industry at times, sometimes you're just willing to take anything. And at that point I think I was 19. I hadn't really worked much and I was like, this is another credit. Also, it's some money. Yeah. And this has been a really quiet year. So I just sort of said yes. Whereas now, if something like that came in, I wouldn't even go near it.
And how is it to also act for adverts? Because it's like much shorter, I guess. And you have a character, but you have maybe less details about the character.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Adverts are really interesting, actually, because they're normally a shorter shoot.
Yeah.
They're normally like a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're very specific because with an advert, obviously you have a director and a producer, but you've also got a product that you're obviously trying to sell. For example, I was in a McDonald's advert. So we had a director and then we had McDonald's, but then you also have like an agency who are also facilitating that shoot. So you have like 3 people or 3 groups of people that are trying to be pleased by something. And it's very, very rare that they all agree.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of different takes and a lot of, right, I want you to speak in this one. I don't want you to speak in this one. And I want you to do this in this one. And it's, I think the main thing with adverts is just getting like the different companies to agree with each other. And you're right, you do normally get less detail. But the thing with adverts, and I'm going to be totally honest, is a lot of it is down to whether you look right, whether you are what they envisioned for that role, because they really have a clear picture in their head. I have friends that have been in adverts that have no training in the performing arts whatsoever. It's just they have the right look, and there's also a lot more money in commercial shoots, both for obviously the actor but also for the production company. Like they get really cool locations, and like with the O2 ad, the wonderful director of photography, oh my gosh, she shoots like Taylor Swift's music videos. She shot Top Boy, she shot Euphoria, she shoots with Zendaya.
Crazy.
So to be in her company, I was like, this is crazy. But they have bigger budgets and they work with production companies that solely focus on commercials, like making commercials a work of art. So yeah, but they're shorter, but I'd say they're more intense because it's not a case of like meeting a director and a producer's artistic vision. It is that, but then it's also what's right for the business, what's right for the company, the product they're trying to sell. Like it's meeting that team's expectation as well. So
yeah,
but they're fun. Adverts are fun. And their auditions are normally like crazy. They normally ask you to do really, really weird things.
Oh, what is the craziest thing that you've been asked to do for an audition?
Oh my gosh, so many things. There is one that sticks out in my mind. I can't even remember what the advert was for, but it was in the room audition and I had no idea what I was walking into. They gave me no brief. And they said, okay, pretend you're wearing chainmail. So, like really heavy metal armour. Imagine your whole body's in that. And I was like, okay. They said, so you're really heavy. I said, okay. And you're holding a plastic shopping bag. I was like, okay. Full of baked beans. And you're walking down the street. And then what's going to happen is the baked beans are going to fall out of the shopping bag. The shopping bag is going to split. And then you have to bend down wearing chainmail and pick up the baked beans. But even though it's really difficult physically because everything you're wearing is so heavy, you need to try and look like you're not bothered and you're completely comfortable, even though you're really struggling and you're in the middle of a busy street. Go.
What?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like, what do you do with that? You know, so I'm trying to imagine that I'm like wearing this incredibly heavy outfit and then trying not to look embarrassed whilst trying to be. It was just a lot. It was just a lot.
It's a lot of information.
And it was, I can't remember who it was for, but it was like nothing to do with what they were trying to sell, which obviously is also the case a lot of the time with adverts. They try and like, you know, make it interesting for an audience. They remember their commercial, but yeah, that was really strange. I'm just trying to, I don't think anything was as weird as that, to be honest. I had another audition where all they wanted to see from me, this was over Zoom, was they asked me to grab a piece of string and then make it interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of interesting do you want?
But art is so subjective, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
I could think a performance is really amazing and you could think it was, you know, a load of shit. That's kind of the fun of it as well.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, well, I'm doing this thing and loads of people might hate it, but one person might think it's actually all right. Auditions are a very strange experience.
Are you nervous before auditions?
Oh my God, always.
Okay.
I'm so much better now than I used to be, but I get nervous and then I kind of go through this phase where I use the nerves as almost like a high and I get really excited. And then if they come out to get me, like, I can feel it now, like just thinking about it, like my body shakes. And then as soon as I go in the room, bam, like I'm fine. And everything just goes because I'm focused and the adrenaline rush is hitting me and I'm just going off of that. And also I'm just really happy to be there. There is that. I just really love my job and it, you know, when I actually get to do it, it's like the best thing. So I'm just really excited to like be in a room and potentially get a job or even just meeting different teams and meeting directors and being directed by them in itself is like a really cool experience. And you learn things from that. And it's all about human connection at the end of the day though, isn't it? Like that's,
yeah.
I feel like that's what art is about. And acting is so heavily based on that. And doing what we do and working in creative spaces, you get to meet so many cool people.
And do you feel like you've learned a lot through training? Or mostly you've learned from just working with cameras, working on stage?
That's a really good question. I mean, I learned so much from my training. And when I go to classes and things, I still learn an incredible amount. But I do think some of the most valuable lessons I learned have been on set and have been from doing the work. Because at drama school, I only did a foundation. I only went for a year.
Okay.
And we didn't learn really about set etiquette or how like action happens. You know, they tell the cameras to roll, they tell sound to roll, they check this, that. So many things you don't learn. And then you step onto a set and you just, as you know, because I know you've been on set, you just sort of have to adapt and then learn these things and you pick them up really quickly. And also just actually working with directors and other actors and, you know, producers and writers and all these different creative forms. You do just learn so much from everyone. I did a short film a couple of years ago with a guy, I think he was in like his 60s or 70s. And we were on the shoot for maybe 2 or 3 days. And I learned so much from him just from watching him work and having conversations when the camera had stopped rolling. And I remember coming off that job and being like, wow, he was a great teacher. And I don't even think he meant to be.
Yeah.
He was just doing his job and I was observing him. And I still think today, I'm like, what would David do?
That's crazy.
Things,
yeah, I feel like there's some people who really mark us.
Yeah.
Just by watching them, you're like, I have this dance teacher and I just watch her sit in a room, you know, and she's got such a presence, but she's also not doing any extra movement, you know. She is so efficient. Everything.
Some people just have that thing, don't they? Yeah, it's so hard to describe. But for me, like with him, it was his eyes. He just had the most incredible eyes. And he would look at me in a scene and I could tell that he was thinking like 5 different things that his character was thinking. And I could see them all, but not because he was being really obvious, but just because he was being like really truthful. Yeah. He has like sparkly eyes.
Yeah, you can see clever eyes, right?
Yeah.
When people are clever, you can see it in their gaze.
You can 100%. Oh, that's so magic. What a nice sentence. Yeah, I am so with you. And that's something I think you can never
pretend.
You can never pretend, but I also think it's something you can never identify in yourself. Like, I don't think he knew he had that. You you know? I don't think he knew the effect that he was having on me and on the crew just from being there.
Wow.
And like, what a powerful thing.
Yeah. Do you have inspirations or recommendations of
Oh my gosh.
It can be actors you follow, maybe a film you've seen recently, or a book you've read?
Wow, so many things.
Whatever.
You know when people ask that question, like, what's your favourite film? Like, who's your favourite actor? I genuinely don't have an answer because I love so many people in so many films. Actor-wise, just a few. I love Stephen Graham and Jodie Comer. They are two Scouse actors. They're from Liverpool. And they both are just incredibly truthful storytellers, is I think how I would describe them. Like, when you look at them, I just believe everything they are and everything they're doing. I just think they always give such powerful, honest performances. So I really admire their work. Film-wise, you might have seen this actually. It's a French film. It's called Close. I don't know if you've seen it. Oh my gosh.
Close.
You have to watch it. Close and Mustang are two foreign language films. I think Mustang is a Turkish film, and they were both recognised at the Oscars. I can't remember what years. Those films both have changed my life in like different ways.
Wow.
They are just the most beautiful version of storytelling. Like, they're so honest and you just have to watch them. I don't want to give anything away, but Close is about two teenage boys and their friendship. And what I love about it is the physical intimacy they have. So it's a platonic relationship. There's no romance involved. But the actors are so young and they're so physically close. I think you'd find it really interesting as well as like somebody who is an incredible mover and dancer. Like, I think you would really love that.
Yeah.
But their physical intimacy without being romantic is just something that I think about regularly. And the way that they portray friendship, especially male friendship, which I think is a really interesting and complicated thing, is really, really beautiful. And it's a beautiful and heartbreaking story. And the Mustang is kind of the same in the sense it's about, I think it's 6 sisters and it's based on a true story. And the casting in that is crazy, right? Because these girls, they are not related and they look exactly the same.
Wow.
And again, their physical intimacy and the way that they portray sisterhood and like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, that's really interesting because we picture a lot love and love stories, but
I love films about friendship.
yeah.
Like, my friends are, you know, the most important people in my life. Like, my friends and the platonic love that I have for them. Yeah, there's so many things. I have like a list. I write down everything I watch because I like to remember. Because I just forget things that I've seen.
Yeah, me too.
And then I'm
For me, it's books, I think. I read a lot of books.
Do you?
Yeah, but then I forget.
Yeah, and you forget. So you have to write these things down because I remember at drama school, for example, I read a play every week, minimum. Sometimes I read like 3 plays a week. I just read constantly. I can't remember half the things I read. I didn't write it down anywhere. I didn't think about like future me. And I can't remember now. And sometimes I would just, you know, wake up at night and I think, what was that play with that scene about that girl and that boy? And I just can't remember. And
That's
I can't,
crazy.
I'll go crazy like Googling these things and I just can't find them. So write things down. That is like my one bit of advice I'd give to anyone.
2025.
Yeah,
goal.
write everything down because you will need it at some point. That's what I learned. Oh,
Okay, random questions.
okay.
What makes you laugh?
My friends and The Office. I love The Office. I never get bored of The
That's the
Office.
best answer.
Sorry if that's boring, but The Office, US. Sorry, I know that's controversial, but the US, it kills me. I absolutely love that series. So yeah.
Do you believe in talent?
Yes, but I think it has to be nurtured. I think it has to be worked on. You can be born with like an amazing singing voice, but I think if you don't have technique, for example, or if you don't nurture it and look after it, then people think, oh, that person's so talented, but also how much of it is talent and how much of it is hard work as well.
Yeah,
And discipline.
I feel like when people get a bit famous, you know, singers or whatever, people think they are just starting.
Yeah.
They don't see the 10
Don't see
years
what's
before
happened in
of
the
being
background.
hidden.
Yeah.
And yeah, I find this super interesting. Like, especially all these pop stars, you know, like...
Yeah, they've
you
been
can
working for
see-
years in the
yeah.
background. And also, I think there's a pattern. You kind of made me think of, do you know Sabrina Carpenter?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, oh, you know, overnight pop sensation, but she has been working.
Yeah.
She was a child actor on the Disney Channel and things like this. But what I find really fascinating, especially with women, is when women sort of rise to fame and that you see it happen over and over again. It's a real pattern, is that they're loved and admired for maybe a year, and then people try and like cause a downfall for them.
So true.
And it's a real dangerous pattern. You see it all the time, and now my eyes have sort of been opened to that sort of idea. I see it constantly in like these public figures, but it's always women, like men.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's almost as if we wanted to believe that women suddenly can be famous because of a talent, but in a very naive way. And when you actually see that they're working hard and that they are getting the power, then it becomes a danger to society or whatever.
Then they want to rip it from them, don't
It's crazy.
they? So you can't let... It's almost like if women become too powerful, it's like the society wants to remind them that they are just a woman at the end of the day and that they can't be as powerful as men. And oh my gosh, sorry, I'm just going off on a tangent because it makes me so angry, but I could talk about this kind of thing for ages.
It is interesting. It is very interesting. Do you like to go to the supermarket?
Yeah. I was actually in the supermarket last night. I think my problem with the supermarket is that when I'm in there, I think I could just like change my life and like become a whole new person. I'm like, well, what if I just start eating, you know, cabbage and crackers? Or like, what if I try this? And I really love cooking. So when I go to the supermarket, I a lot of the time just want to buy everything and cook everything. And then I remember that I'm just one person and I can't possibly eat 6 meals in one day, even though I would love to. So yeah, I love going to the supermarket. What I hate about going to the supermarket is I always forget to bring my bag. I always forget my bag.
So you have a lot of bags now.
So, and I really hate paying for bags because also like I don't want to keep buying plastic. So I try and carry everything. And I also think that's something else that women are really good at. Like, you never see men carry 5 things in one hand, but I will constantly carry 5. Like my friends, like we would just rather carry things than, you know, be sensible or pay for a bag. And it's not because I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend 20 pence. It's more, no, I want to prove that I can.
Yeah, me too. I have this stupid thing.
Yeah, and
I want to prove that I can do stupid things. Like,
yeah.
You know, Google Maps tell me you're going to walk for 50 minutes. And I'm like, no, I'm going to walk for 40 minutes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I do the exact same thing. I think it's like I just want to constantly prove myself. And it's like, prove yourself to who? Like, who are you proving yourself to? On the way here, it was like, it's a 13-minute walk. I was like, no, it's not. It's 9. I might have short legs, but I'm going to prove their worth. I'm going to walk double speed.
That is so funny.
Oh, that is brilliant.
If you could have a parallel life,
oh my gosh,
what do you do?
So many things. Weirdly, I would actually love to be a mechanic, like do what my family do.
I was thinking about that.
Because I know a bit about cars, right? But not as much as like my dad. Like my dad is just incredible. He just sort of knows everything about every car and every issue that it could possibly have and how to fix it. And I would love, I think about this a lot in the sense that I feel like I don't have a lot of knowledge. And what I mean by that is, you know, when people have like a special skill, like his is obviously his being a mechanic and he knows everything about that, and teachers and they know everything about their subject.
Yeah.
And sometimes I sit there and I think, do I know anything about anything?
I have the same problem because I do so many different things.
Yeah, and like a jack of all trades.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
So I can do a bit of everything. Probably I can do any random job right now and I can learn it quite quickly. But
you never know everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like also now I speak English fine, but I'll never be perfect at English and I'm losing a bit of French.
Oh, really?
So some words in French sometimes I forget.
That's so fascinating.
So I'm not perfect in French. So I'm like, okay, I'm never completely complete in the language, you know?
It's like that's so interesting.
It's crazy.
But it is a real thing that I think about. I just think, because also acting is so subjective, right? And it's an art and it's like you can never know everything about it because that's just not physically possible. So then I sit and I think, well, what do you know everything about? And then I get really sad. And this is the whole like self-criticism thing that I'm trying to like get better at. But I do sometimes sit and think.
Yeah. Because also, why should you know everything about something?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Well, sometimes I think about like my partner and like his job. He knows everything. I just think he's so clever.
What's his job?
He works in data and
Uh-huh.
like IT solutions and things like that. And when I hear him on calls, he like blows my mind. He just seems to know everything, have solutions for everything. I'm like, I wish I had that. But then also, isn't it a gift that you and I and people who are like us have like this freedom?
Yes.
I love the freedom I have of my life. I love the fact that when I'm not doing the thing I love most, that I have other fulfilling things that really do make my life better.
Yeah.
And I do think that is the hardest thing, and that is something nobody teaches you, especially at drama school, is it's not about, you know, what to do when you're on acting jobs. It's what to do when you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you do something that doesn't kill you, in the sense that how do you do something that doesn't kill all your creativity, doesn't make you extremely exhausted and hate everything and hate waking up and going to work? It's about finding those things that, okay, they're not the thing you love the most in the world and love doing the most, but how do they fulfill you in other ways? I think having a fulfilling personal life is the key to being a better performer. And that may sound so weird, but now I feel like I have more of a fulfilling personal life and I'm happy personally. I feel so much better in my career, and I think it shines through as well.
Yeah.
But that is really hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you love something so much. For me, it was like all I ever wanted to do, to then go, oh, I don't want to do anything else. But you have to find, you know, we've got bills to pay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we've got to find those other things that give us joy. And yeah, I think that's the hardest thing about this job.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yes, I do. And that's such a beautiful way to end. Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.